Welcome to this video celebrating the life of Gwyn David Jackson, known to many of you as Dave. He left this world at the age of 90, and we're going to explore some of the many things that made Gwyn such an amazing person and a big part of so many people's lives. We're going to look at the hobbies, his family, and just recount some of the things that made him so special to so many of us. Born in 1934 in the Welsh town of Ceredigion, where he stayed with his auntie Cadws before rejoining his mother Martha in the Wirral. He was then joined by his sister Phyllis, who then completed the whole family unit. Gwyn recounted to me on many occasions that he would return to Ceredigion by train to visit his auntie Cadws on many occasions. Gwyn enlisted in the army on the 14th of October in 1952. In his certificate of service, in his final assessment of conduct and character, it describes him as a tall, pleasant young man of average intelligence, who gets on well with those with whom he works. He works well with a small amount of supervision. He is willing, clean and honest. He intends taking up baker and confectioner after his army service, and I think he should do well. He measured at 5 foot 9.5 with a fresh complexion, blue eyes and ginger hair. In 1955, he joined the Army Catering Corps as part of the 33rd Parachute Field Regiment, with tours in both Cyprus and Egypt. Gwyn's career progression was motivated mostly by money within the army. He did as many courses as he could to enhance his pay. It's what led him to take so many cookery courses within the army, but also what motivated him to join the parachute regiment. This was a very rigorous training regime which involved different parachute drops in different situations, such as dropping at night, but also parachuting into water, which Grandad told me was very, very scary as he didn't know how to swim. So he had to drop into water and then be taken out of the water by the other people. As a cook, I found a lot of recipes that he did on how to make rice pudding for 100 men. And these are all very, very interesting things to read. He wrote down the methodology, the ingredients he'd need for the different amounts of men in the regiment, and the different meals that he provided. Is very creative on what he could do, being renowned by the officers for being able to conjure up a fantastic meal at very short notice, any time of the day or night. With his proudest moment being making over 100 Christmas cakes, so everyone got to celebrate with something special. In the army, he had a couple of nicknames: Taffy for his Welsh origin, Davy Crockett because of his long hair. After leaving the army in 1959, Gwyn carried on to the Territorial Army, where he served for many years. He met his wife Lillian Jackson whilst working as an omelette chef in Pwllheli at Butlin. They were married on the 18th of May in 1957 and were married for 65 years, celebrating their sapphire wedding anniversary. I found some old telegrams from Lily to Gwyn saying, "I love you and I miss you. Good luck, Lillian." They were always caring for each other. And then I found this postcard saying, "Having a nice time. I wish you were here. It's just beginning to rain. Until tomorrow, lots of love, Lily." Lily was taken ill with dementia and had to stay in a care home, and they were separated, which caused a lot of anxiety between the two, not being able to see each other, having spent all their life together. And Grandad would often visit her in the care home and send messages to each other.
Here you go.
Hello, Gwyn. How are you? I hope you're feeling better. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
They parted ways when Lily met the good Lord, leaving Gwyn in the family home. They shared a fantastic and wonderful rich life together, and Gwyn being from the Wirral, North Wales, and Lily being from Bristol, meant that one of them had to relocate. And this was Gwyn. Gwyn moved down from up north, down into Bristol. Had a couple of different houses, but the majority of their life was spent in Morpeth Road, where they proceeded to build a home for their family. Many happy memories from this house for everyone. I myself lived here as well as a grandchild for many years and had a wonderful time. Gwyn loved his plants and rockeries, and a bone of contention and a bit of a laughing point in the family was always that he planted some dwarf conifer trees in the front and back gardens, and as you can see, they overgrown the house. They were taller than the house, which made everyone laugh, especially Nan. And it was here that they raised their family. The boys, Christopher, Andrew and Mark, and the girls, Denise, Deborah and Pamela. With 6 of them living in that 3-bedroom house in Morpeth Road. A very close family, sharing lots of many adventures and family holidays together, including an infamous holiday to Nether Stowey, which I was told had the first automated chip vending machine where you could get hot chips on demand any time of day or night. I know from talking to all my aunties and uncles that they really enjoyed this holiday in particular. Gwyn had a few jobs throughout his life, being a sprayer at both Wards and Parnell's. The majority of his working life was spent at Garland's, where he worked until his retirement. He did many different roles there, driving lorries with drawbars, which was very rare back in the early 60s. And then he became the foreman, overseeing the operation of the warehouse, where they did hot dip galvanising. It was very much a family affair, with Andrew and Mark both working at the same place, along with son-in-law Steve. What really made this man special was his enthusiasm and dedication, regardless of the task, in both people and practice. And this was reflected through the many hobbies and interests that he had throughout his life, which we'll go through now. Often referred to as a real-life Dr. Dolittle, animals loved him as much as he loved them. He particularly loved wildfowl, ducks and geese, spending a lot of time at Slimbridge and other wildfowl collections. He was so enthused by this that he turned the back garden of his modest council house in Bristol into a miniature Slimbridge. He had lots of aviaries and ponds, all set up, adorned with the correct foliage, and raised hundreds and hundreds of different species of wildfowl here, with a real penchant for the whistling tree duck. Everything in the duckery did not quack. They were all wild birds, cared for, and he became a representative of the British Waterfowl Association for many, many years, helping lots of other people create similar environments in their gardens and help them breed some spectacular examples of wildfowl. He was well known and respected within these circles and had many diplomas of achievement for breeding such a wide variety of different birds. He had a very vivid interest in classic cars, and in particular the Standard Motor Company. He had 2 in his later years, the 1956 Standard 10 and the 1936 A12. And again, his enthusiasm for his hobbies meant that he did this to a high level, culminating in appearing in Practical Classics magazine. But we also used to take these cars to the shows, where I have many fond memories touring the country, winning lots of prizes, meeting very interesting people, and sharing some wonderful experiences with my granddad. The classic cars meant so much to us, and it's something that I would really like to return to in the future, if circumstances ever allowed that, as I think it's a great hobby to share with your family. Driving must have been in his blood, as he won the Steering Wheel League for being a fantastic driver and was invited by the Lord Mayor to receive his prize, which was something I think was an amazing achievement for him. Gwyn, or Dave, is possibly most well known for breeding guinea pigs, or cavies as we call them. He kept a stud of over 500 during the 1960s and 70s. He has many accomplishments in the cavie fancy, one of which being helping to create and develop the chocolate Himalayan that you see in the picture above. Previously there were only black variants of this, but through hard work and selective breeding, along with some other fanciers, Grandad was able to really establish it as a new breed. Also in the early 1960s, he created the Bristol Cavie Club. He worked hard organising shows, creating these lovely awards for members to win, along with rosettes, badges and prize cards. He was also a prolific cavie judge and a committee member on lots of different committees, especially the National Himalayan Cavie Club, of which he was bestowed the honorary life membership. He made many lifelong friends throughout his time in the fancy. You can see him here with Clive Robinson and Charlie Blanford, who were also very early members of the Bristol KV Club and really helped the club to become a stronghold in the area. And the club is still going strong to this very day, which is a fantastic achievement. He showed his cavies under the prefix of Bristol Stud and was very, very successful, having won a Best in Show every decade since the 1960s up until the 2020s, claiming hundreds of championship certificates going back from 1967 all the way up to the 2020s again, and holding records for the first ever Southern KV Club Supreme Champion, as well as winning the largest ever National Himalayan KV Club only show with 127 exhibits. I joined the stud in 1999 and we showed as a partnership then until his last days, culminating in the biggest ever KV show win, the Real London Championship show. But to get third and then first best in show, we won the Real London. Yeah.
Really? Let me see it, let me see it.
There you go. I still keep the KVs and continue to show them under the Bristol Stud name in his honour. He's always kept dogs. Patches was his first, and then he had Baxter, Fred and Mitzi, who were all min pins, miniature pincers. Everyone in the family who owned a dog always brought them up to see Gwyn because he had such an affinity for them and it was lovely to see. This is my dog Indy, and I forgot that I actually had this footage of Grandad playing with her. You can just see the joy it brings him on his face to be with the animals, and they seem to love him just as much. Gwyn had family still in North Wales, lots of aunties and uncles and cousins that he always used to like to visit, especially his mum. Always loved to go up there 2 or 3 times a year to see her. She still presided in the Wirral. And we had many lovely family road trips going up there to see everyone. Family was a very important aspect of Gwyn's life. And as I said, he liked to enjoy seeing everyone thrive and took real interest in what his family were doing in their own lives. Whilst looking through a memory box, I found this letter written to Grandad, recounting how he stopped to help a person who had broken down in their car, then proceeded to collect the person's wife and return them both safely to their home. What a fantastic chap. And this person tracked him down and wrote this letter to him. And at the very end it says, "Hopefully I won't have to do the same for you, but I wouldn't hesitate to help someone else in a similar position after the example you set." This just echoes the type of man that he was, a person willing to set examples, but also a great inspiration and role model, especially for me and my personal development as a young man trying to find his place in the world. I was extremely lucky to have my tide looking over me the whole way. Another hobby that we shared was breeding and showing canaries. We didn't keep just your regular canary, we kept the old and rare varieties, which were all sorts of different shapes and sizes, like this one here that we won an award with as a Belgian canary. As you can see, they're very strange shaped, and this was a very prized award for us, winning many best of breed awards all over the country and making some wonderful memories. Gwyn was an avid photographer and ran the local camera club in his younger days. He marvelled at the work of Frank Meadow Sutcliffe and became an avid collector of his photos. We went on our very own expedition to recreate some of the works of Frank Meadow Sutcliffe up in Whitby. We had a fantastic time. The next video is Grandad regaling some of that from some of the photos we took.
Upstairs, I've got that little bit of rock coming from just about here. Yeah. I must really like the pictures, see? So one camera and took a picture.
That's Beggar's Bridge above you there.
Yeah, that's me.
Mm.
You took them. Yours is sepia.
Yeah. Grandad loved a roast dinner. I can barely remember a time that he didn't have one on a Sunday. It was a time of sharing food, thoughts with his family, and that is something that he really enjoyed. As well as 6 children, he had 14 grandchildren and another 14 great-grandchildren, with more on the way. And he loved to get visits from everyone, to hear about what they were doing in their life. He took a real interest in what people were doing, and if you were enthusiastic, he would also feed off of that and be enthusiastic for you. He would be your biggest supporter, your #1 fan, the person you wanted in your corner rooting for you. He took great pride and pleasure knowing that his legacy would live on in his family and the influences he gave them. He had a great sense of humour and loved to play practical jokes on everyone.
Happy birthday, Becky. Lots of love to you. Hey, stop that.
Even pretending to like Bristol Rovers Football Club just to wind up my nan, who was an avid Bristol City fan. He took every opportunity that life gave him and often made his own luck through hard work and determination. Whatever you put into Grandad, you got back tenfold. If you loved him, he loved you tenfold. If you cared for him, he cared for you tenfold. If you showed interest, he would show interest in you tenfold. And you can really see his caring and nurturing side in this video of him with my godson Archie. Personal note, I'd really like to thank him. He has always been there to guide me and help me through my life. He has been there when my family started and helped me transition into being a good father and setting good examples for my children. I have some wonderful memories with him, and these are things that I will cherish forever and ever, and it's been a pleasure to be able to share some of these with you all. He raised me like a father, I lived with him, and he is like a grandfather rather than a great-grandfather to my children. He was so much to so many people, but to me, he was my best friend. I shared everything with him, and he's a great loss to not just my life, but to everyone's. He is now reunited with his wife, Lily, his mother and sister. But we've praised his life and loved and basked in the glory of having him with us.
He's my forever friend, my leave me never friend, from darkest night